Alright, so I've always recommended Westworld Season 1 because I think it's excellent. I think it's a work of art. It's great, and while, Season 2 is kind of going through the sophomore slump, that doesn't mean I don't still recommend it, right? And obviously in this video, I'm going to give you the sum up, the explanation of what Westworld is for dummies. I know some people really get high on this show and all of the intellectuality of the show to the point that I've seen threads of people arguing with each other about consciousness. And they're like arguing about the same thing. So I'm hoping that this show doesn't spawn like another set of Rick and Morty fans who think you have to be like, I don't know, you have to have some sort of IQ to watch this show. I think you can still enjoy it, but I'm here to break it down for you, not with the super deep analytical stuff. You can go over to this guy over there, but you guys know we chill over here with the simpletons. The ones who bum off the HBO subscription. Let me explain. So y'all know the guy who wrote Jurassic Park. Well, this guy clearly has a thing with theme parks going wrong after recreating life forms that shouldn't be touched with since, he did the OG film versions of both of these. In terms of the show, you got these two guys, the Jobs Wozniak, who created these robots and they called them hosts that Blade Runners wouldn't even be able to distinguish. Thing is that Arnold lost his kid, so while he was creating these robots, he goes into this deep depression. He starts wanting to Wall-E his creation and help them gain consciousness, and when he realizes that, wait a minute, I don't want to open a park to a bunch of rich dudes who are just gonna destroy my creation and rape and pillage them day after day, and he kills himself. Like, he literally destroys all the rides so they couldn't open. However, Delos got that money, and since Delos' kid is like that twerp from Shrek the Third,
hear the roar.
They eventually open the park since he likes the rides. Thing is though, if you've ever brought your friends over when you were little, right? If you remember this, if you remember blessing them with the fact that you had a GameCube and they didn't, and you allowed them to see it, if not touch it, and then they just wanted to claim the GameCube as their own, that's exactly what his pal Billy does, right? Like, this dude brings him in, and he thinks he's way too good for all the things that they're doing here, that he's beyond all of these Woody shenanigans. And then at the end, it turns out, nah, this guy's a straight-up psychopath, and he wants to take over Westworld. Dude leaves his best friend stranded out there. He becomes Ed Harris as the Man in Black, and kind of like loses this part of his face. And since he's married to Delos' daughter, he's got the in convincing this man to drop even more money in this place. But he ain't looking to expand Toy Story Land like they did in Disney. This man wants to create a place where, one, they're figuring out a way to recreate people so they can be immortal. And two, this man is Facebooking people's data so that he can recreate them. Like, imagine this. If it's only rich people who can go to Westworld, right? So you got prime ministers and you got CEOs, important people. These guys can legit just gotti them in the park, decompose their bodies, then return a host of them to control the things in the real world. Delos is the Illuminati confirmed. That's why I think, just to add a little bit here, that the character of Ed Harris, William, what we're seeing here is actually a host. The Man in Black is his host trying to find his own maze. He's testing his fidelity like they're trying to do with Mr. Delos, because even though everyone's thinking and the producers are saying that, no, he's a human this whole time, and they may be right, the captions never really call him Willie, but the Man in Black, They even show you in the after credits of Season 2 where his host daughter is telling him that they're doing just that, trying to figure out his fidelity, which is supposed to take place like in Season 4 in the future and stuff, but I don't know, that's my little theory that Ed Harris as William may in fact be the first person to find immortality. Either way, you also have Ford, who realizes his buddy Arnold was actually onto something before he killed himself, and after listening to Yeezus on repeat, Ford decides that he wants to become a god. He creates Bernard, who's kind of an anagram and even a copy of Arnold in a sense, and he's made by Dolores, which is really ironic because Arnold spent his entire time creating Dolores. Now Dolores is kind of the one training his copy. We then jump to the present where Ford, who you should never trust, is clearly scheming some things, right? There's these business ladies who appear and they think that they can dupe him. He dupes them both. The hosts gain consciousness and they think that they're about to start a revolution. It's all a part of his plan. And even when this dude dies, he ain't really dead because he wants to be a god. The idea is that all of these species, right? Every time that we look back in history, when a new species arises, one's gotta go, right? We ain't chilling with dinosaurs or cavemen anymore, right? We went from Laserdisc to VHS, DVDs to Blu-ray, then streaming. Like, if you're one of those who's still using CDs, you'd probably be one of the ones who goes with Thanos' snap into extinction. So by Season 2, all of the hosts are either trying to break out of the park to go into the real world Ex Machina style, or they're trying to retain their memories and go after the things that they do believe in and try to get into this afterlife for robots, which is like just in a USB drive where it's practically Minecraft for them. They can create anything they want because humans aren't allowed to touch them. The thing with season 2 is that it's ultra confusing because they decided to add 3 timelines, and I don't know if that's because the producers were upset that Reddit figured out their 2 timelines for the first. Either way, the reason they do it is because Bernard has a plan, but he jumbled up his brain, so we're seeing everything out of order, and that way the humans aren't able to tap in and understand what he's trying to do. They've kind of created like this Malcolm X MLK thing between Dolores and him, where they both kind of want the same thing for the host, just by different means. And even though he kills her, he then kind of like puts her in a clone of Tessa Thompson's character in order to escape, and they kill the real Tessa Thompson. I'm telling you, you can't trust people when they're making clones. I like how we also learned that the third Hemsworth brother is actually a clone Ford made in order to maintain the host inside of the park, and he lets her go into the real world because he's no longer in charge of anyone who's not inside of the park. True G right here. But as she leaves, she takes 5 little metal balls with her, which again can be any 5 hosts out there, since hosts don't really need bodies, right? They're technically just digital beings. Their bodies don't really matter because they can be inside a refrigerator, they can look like freaking Smart House. They ain't like us. Yet. In my opinion, I think those 5 little balls are Arnold, Maeve, Clementine, her dad, and without a doubt, I thought this one was obvious, Clippy. She's finally out of the park and recreates Bernard when she's out there because they're now playing this Magneto Charles game, right? This Batman versus the Joker, where they hate each other, their ideologies are against each other, but they don't want to kill each other. What would they be without each other? Would it be easier for Dolores to take over in the violent way that she wants to? Yeah, but then we wouldn't have more seasons. I guess the point of view is that without a struggle, without a conflict, right, a species cannot thrive. Like, clearly Dolores doesn't agree with the Sublime idea where all of these people went into their digital heaven, but she hooked them up and made sure that those files were never going to be touched by human beings ever again, right? She's learned that even though people have different ideologies, that's the way you grow. So to recap, these guys create hosts so they can gain consciousness and become themselves. But at the same time, these guys want hosts so they can gain immortality and become themselves. All of the parks that we see pretty much get destroyed as the hosts either make it into a digital heaven, and we see 5 hosts escape with Dolores, who's now looking to take over the world. But considering this show's written by humans, I don't know if they get all the representation right. Thank you guys for checking out this video. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Obviously, this is the Let Me Explain element. We keep it simple over here. I know some people want those deep, dark. So some people want theories that don't even really exist. They just want people to like, I don't know, conform with them. But yeah, maybe check out ATZ. There should be a video there hopefully soon. But other than that, I'm curious to know your thoughts on this. I like season 1 a lot more than season 2. I'm very curious to see how they're gonna expound not only on future parks if they go back to it. We all know Jurassic Park's been destroyed multiple times. They go back to that bad boy. But I'm also curious to see what they're going to do with the 5 or 6 hosts that are out, what they're going to do in the future with this immortality timeline with the Man in Black, and even more than that, if the digital heaven's ever going to come back. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, or else these violent delights will have violent ends.